Yeah, man, we are here. We are here. They should have never gave you dudes a microphone. So, basically, you know, Judge can't speak on this. Can't speak on the game. This was inspired by a black man being brutally honest yesterday, and so forth. The game is the game. You can't speak on the game, and the game is marriage. You know, you can have a marriage mind, but until you get married and put some time in the game, you can't really speak too much on the game. You know, you can speak on what you see, what you learn, yourself trying to be a better person. But the thing is, you can't speak on the game of marriage if you're not married. Telling me you got to do this to your wife and I get a bad outcome. You tell me, and every Valentine's Day, man, you got to buy her stuff. Man, you got to spoil her, man. Treat her like a queen that she is. But you don't get nothing in return, you know? Or you say, man, you got to treat your woman hard on Valentine's Day. Don't get her nothing. Don't do this for her. Don't do that for her. Then I get a bad result. Hey, bro, that's the game. No, you know? And for the people that actually, pull up on people that try to give them a little knowledge and information. No, that's true. You can give your insight to what you think, you know, as a single man or as a married man, but the results may vary, you know. But speaking on the game, too, what I was talking about with parenting, there are a lot of people, you know, in this space and throughout talking about how men to get the raw deal when having kids. I mean, in my opinion, personally, you should go on and get married and lock that relationship in with that woman. So, you do have kids. It's a level playing field on how to work that. Yeah, you might get a divorce or something like that, but it won't be as bad, in my opinion. I mean, because unless you just have some type of vendetta or spite towards you, but it all depends on the person. You know, nothing is 100%. I could tell you one thing, and it's depend on the person who you deal with that actually give you the results. You know, results may vary. The way I move in my relationship, I can give you to the T 100% on how to have a successful marriage, in my opinion. But it won't work in your relationship because you don't have the same type of woman that I have, or you don't have the same mindset that I have, or that I carry, or that your woman carry as my wife. So results may vary. But the point of it is, it's no, don't get it twisted. Now, I'm not saying that a man who's not married can't speak on a man who's married. You know, it's the way you carry. But like I say, I hear guys in the space, and we have this, you know, crowd herd mentality in which to carry a relationship, and there are some, not saying all, you know, not speaking in absolutes, but when it comes down to it, it's simple as that. You know, you move according to your relationship and the principles and stuff what you lay down for your relationship. You know, and the whole reason why I put the pimp up there talking about speaking on the game, you know, a pimp will tell you all day, if you speaking on the game and you ain't in it, you know, where's your knowledge? How you gonna mac a brow? How you gonna, lay down the pimp hand and you scared to touch a woman? That's all about being a pimp. The game is the game. And I'm speaking that into a relationship. That's the game. You got to be in the game to win. If that ain't your game, or as the pimp say that they don't conform to you as your girl, then need to push. You need to push out. Like the old school say, kick rocks, man. Go ahead, go somewhere else. She don't want to be with you, bro. You know. And when it comes down to it, that's the whole thing. You wanna have a woman that's on your level. Dealing with you, in which y'all have that understanding. When it comes down to it, I hear so many guys talking about submissive women. It's it's 2022, bro. About to be 2023. You know what? Another this third month, so 9. Like when it come down to it, how many submissive women are still walking around here? There are a lot of agreeable women that deal with things, you know, in reference to the plight of them having a comfortable life. But submissive, in which most of these guys I hear talk about, bruh, I mean, understand you might have to go overseas and into a different culture to get that type of woman. Not even just saying American women are not, most on average women are not submissive. It's according to the laws of the land that they live by. You know, I seen a video where a guy, he was talking to a woman over in want to say one of those countries like Iran or somewhere, and they was doing a commentary about the men in power. And it was crazy when the woman asked him, do you think one day that there might be like a woman president? And the guy laughed, like all the gentlemen laughed, and said, cut the camera off. And walked to the lady, said something to her, and that question was stricken from the record. In America, you do that to a woman, she got some pushback. And what's the man to say because she got some pushback, but she got pushback, you know? And when it comes down to it, honestly, man, I laugh at a lot of this stuff that I hear in this space because I always say this. My wife is the vice president. She has to have some level of power in the relationship because if I go down, she's the second line of defense. She's the one. If a robber comes in your house, and we always hear this term, the man goes and do this, yes, that's what the man do. But if that robber makes it upstairs because I'm downstairs shot, she got the gun upstairs. She don't go as well. She know how to move. She know how to grab the gun, load it up, cock it back, and she ready to go. She might be scared, but that's the point of taking your woman to the gun range, teaching her this. Show her when that time goes, you got to be prepared for this. Proper preparation make, if not, piss poor performance, when it comes to situations. So I'm trying to get a lot of people to understand, there's levels to this whole relationship thing. There's levels to a lot of people that want to be parents. You know, there's a lot of young kids, and there's a situation that just happened recently to where I was talking to some people and I was letting them know, to an extent, that's why the younger parents, 17 and in their early 20s, don't make rational decisions about being a parent. Literally, I've heard so many people say, my brother gets spoiled. My brother did this, and when I was young, I couldn't do this. I couldn't get that ease to where I can do this and do that. My parents were strict and hard on me. Or my parents were too relaxed with me, and then when it came to my younger brother, they were more strict on them. That's the whole thing about parenting. You learn from your mistakes and you get it right, later on down the line. I've came back to my son and I've talked to him about things that I thought I didn't teach him as far as being a man, my oldest. And he told me, I seen how you moved. I seen how you dealt with my mom. I seen how, you went to work. Anything we needed, you went out and got it. You know, son had 2 jobs when he was in college. So I was like, I just want to make sure, because in this space, a lot of things had me check stuff in my life, as far as dealing with the men, and the family, and the way I'm raising my sons. You know, because note that my oldest son is from my wife's first relationship. You know, so technically, people don't always know this. Not I never, differentiate differentiate the two unless it's a reason. And mainly, I do that because I want to let people know that is my stepson, and I do have two step kids. But I don't look at them as step kids. They're my kids. I paid the bills when they were there in the house. Anytime they needed something, they came to me. It was very rare that they had access to their dad because he wasn't accessible like that. Or if he was accessible like that, he didn't even have the funds for it. So me being with their mother and being a man, I step to the plate. And I tell guys, if you don't want to step to the plate with a baby mama, don't deal with it. Just plain and simple. It's like so many guys complain about women who have kids, but when I ask you, are you going to be with or deal with a woman with kids, and you say no, so what is this whole 15 live streams about baby mamas, and you don't deal with baby mamas? Say your piece and just move. This should be a quick little interlude about a baby mama and move on. I shouldn't go down your playlist and see 30 videos about baby mamas. I shouldn't see 30 videos about IG models and women and their behavior. You praising so much of the bad behavior of women instead of giving, praises to the ones that are doing good. That should be the reverse in this space, to where a lot of women who actually sacrifice and do things the right way get the praise. Because we there's an endless supply of women that the men always say they do things wrong. When I hear this, she chose wrong, I laugh at that each and every time. A woman chooses who she want to be at that time, or at that point in her life. If she don't choose you, why are you mad? Oh, because she didn't choose you. If she chose the thug down the street, if she chose any other person but you, that's who she wanted to be with. I'm not mad at that, you know, because at the same time, that just give me a door to let me know that the women that choose these type of men, I don't need to be with them. I don't speak on a lot of these. I speak to behavior, yes. When I be on panels, I talk about behavior of women, but I also talk about behavior of youth, because I always explain to the men in this space, if we keep talking about having a level-headed young man who has a lot of goals and principles in life, and you don't put it in his way to where he can have a level-headed woman, what are we dealing with? You know, when we raise a young man up with sense, for all the men that have daughters, you have to raise your daughter as well in the same principles and morals. You know, going at the women in the space, and then you have a daughter and turn around, baby, you different. Tommy Sotomayor, I mean, I never use names seldomly, but Tommy is one of the prime examples. He has daughters, but he constantly slash at black women so much. Constantly. And I'm like, okay, I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, their own viewpoint, but the way how he come at women, and honestly, if somebody was to do that to his daughter, he'll try to stuff a mud hole in. Because that's the same reverence I have. If you come at my daughter a certain way, there's consequences behind it. But if she done something wrong, oh, she's getting the blood force of the trauma. I'm coming at her hard. I'm gonna come down on her hard. She's an adult. I'm not gonna hit her, but at the same time, she's gonna get that lashing. I'm gonna talk her down bad, because that's not how you treat a man. You were raised better than that. You don't move like that. And to the extent, in this space, that's why I say, as far as with kids, we got to start moving a certain way. You know, a lot of people want respect, you know, to be elders and stuff. You got to also give it, you know. That's the game. It's always been like that. We gotten away from that because I keep saying in this community, just black in general, the point of it is it's a self mentality. That's why the community is so broken. Back in the day, everybody worked together. Everybody did things with the purpose of building. You know, one thing that BMT said on Art Panel the other day, that a lot of people, they come over. You got some rice, I got some beans. Somebody got potatoes. Somebody got meat. We all come together with family Sunday dinner. We make enough to where people can take stuff home and they good. I mean, you can eat rice and beans all day, but without the meat, the greens, cornbread, because you don't have the money for it, you're still gonna be hungry. You're gonna eat more rice and beans than you would if you had the meat and everything else. So that's the issue right now. A lot of people got to start coming together with principles and morals of us actually building back families. You know, it's gonna come a point in a couple of months, maybe even years, that we're gonna have to start back doubling up the families and stuff. You know, gonna have, two families staying in one house, just to make ends meet to pay bills. To contrary to most belief, we done got to a point where we like our freedom so much to where we don't like kids and everybody else. They grown, they got to get out. Now it's gonna come a time when those kids gonna have to stay there because they ain't got nowhere else to go. I always see Atlanta street interviews all the time, and it's on YouTube. Atlanta street interviews. This guy goes around, interviews a lot of homeless women, men, trans, you know, bi, all that, and they tell their stories. And to a degree, a lot of them made mistakes. The pandemic put most of them in a predicament. But the main thing where a lot of them are still out there on the street is pride. They got too much pride to go back home because they messed up. They made a mistake. There are a lot of people I looked on those interviews have mental issues. So it's like deciding the two, whether to go home, whether to rough it out. You know, see, one young man, um he was getting a check, but his check couldn't go back up to a certain amount without the proper living. You know, kind of stirring a little bit off topic, but the main thing is, man, like I say, with family, the game is the game. We gotta respect one another. We got to, respect each other's opinions. But the thing of it is, if you know your opinion hasn't been proven to work to a certain level, it's just something that you feel that you could do in a relationship. Like I've literally heard guys, I'm not gonna say guys, man. I heard guys say that if I have a child and this woman don't turn this, child over to me because I'm the man, then, you know, like supposedly with court papers or something like that, it don't work like that. You honestly think a woman is just gonna turn her child over to you for the love of you? It don't work like that. Honestly, with women, you honestly think you're gonna force a man into a relationship by having a baby by him or running over him, and you think he's just gonna lay down and take it? I mean, honestly, as a woman, you should question yourself, because men are not built like that. To just literally run over that man. I mean, that's until if a man runs over you, you only can take so much. So what do you think that man's gonna do? How do you think that man's gonna react? A lot of people don't understand this. When you do things to people like this, try to debone the relationship, whether it be man or woman, it's gonna come a time where you're gonna actually need that person. And it's gonna be a disappointment, you know, to the degree where if you have a man and you are always coming at him a certain way, He might be walking down the street, coming back home because you don't left him at the restaurant or something because you was mad at him. He walking home. He see you getting robbed. Dude pulled a gun on you. He look at you. You can yell his name, Larry, help, and the dude will look at Larry, look at you, and say, shut up. Might hit you with the gun or whatever. Take the car and all. He just looking at you. And the first time you, oh, why you Larry? He gonna still look at you. Same thing with a man. A man could be coming at a woman hard, and the first thing he gets into an accident or something, he could be conscious in a coma and hear most of this stuff, and literally hears the woman say, "I don't want to see him like this. Pull the plug." Well, man, he can come out the coma. Now I don't want to see him like this. Pull the plug. I mean, you can make that decision, but you don't want to give him time to see what happened. Nope. Pull the plug. Because she know you got life insurance. She tired of you, verbally abusing her. That's a lot of times when most people get their payback, you know, man or woman. So it comes down the pipe both ways. I mean, just having an understanding of life, man. Like I say, I try to move my channel, regardless, talking about money, to actually help people get a sense. You know, I don't have it like that. But the point of it is, I can move with you guys and we work together. You know, that's why I always big up Alonzo, because honestly, that's needed in family to have life insurance. You know, have somewhat of a balance, a portfolio, but to the degree, some type of plan. That's why I always push knowledge of self. A lot of people don't understand when I say that because, you know, no diss to the 5%ers and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, it's a mix. When someone talks about knowledge of self, it is what it is. They talk about it all the time. Knowing who you are. That's the whole premise of knowledge of self. You know, and a lot of people don't get it. You are in control of yourself. You are in control of your destiny. So you need to get the ball rolling. You need to get things right in life. You need to focus on you. So many people are so-called wired and programmed to be in a relationship or, move a certain way or a certain code in which getting the bag or smashing women. Like, elevate your mind from a lot of that stuff. I mean, depending on the way you move and live, that's you. The outcomes you get is according to you. So just have an understanding. The outcomes that you get in life are the ones that you make for yourself. When you hear a lot of women talking about ain't no good dudes out here, probably not, because you keep picking the worst ones. The dudes always saying that they go through the struggle with these women. Yes, because you know you're not supposed to be with these chicks, but you deal with them on the premise of having sex with them anyway. I told you that's why a lot of dudes have oops babies. You know, there's no shortage of blue-haired women or different whatever ratchet that people say women that have kids. Because you know why? Most people are making with the little head instead of the big head when it comes to most dudes. You know, there ain't no way you can say I got caught up because you shouldn't have been dealing with those type of chicks in the first place. When a woman says the same thing about a man, he's an abuser, he shows signs, but you let it roll. Most of the time, when you go to DV, short because that's what people say don't do. But the most of the time when they go to DV relationships, it's mainly because you know it happened before and they let it slide or they let it go. Okay, dude. Yeah, man. But when it come down to it, I mean, the biggest thing is a lot of people don't understand life. You know, like I said, there's no blueprint onto being married. that there's different standards and stuff that people try to put position and live by, but there's really no actual blueprint because results may vary. Same thing with being a man. I can give you certain standpoints on being a man. As a man, I can raise my kids to be like me. But I always tell them, you have to be with your uncles. And I say this all the time. It takes a lot of different men to raise a boy to being a man because he has to come from all different angles. He can't have a one track mind, a tunnel vision of which only I give him, and he doesn't see the world. You know, you have men like New can teach my son, men like Sun Club, you know, cut down. It's so many people that can, men that can pour into my sons and make them be, prominent figures in society. I can only give him the minor lessons in which I know. Like I said, I can tell my son about drugs, but if I've never been in the game, I'm only giving him part of the truth, you know, in which I know. Like we always talk about the women with my truth. That's what most of these guys can only give their truth, because that's all they know. I can't tell you about smoking crack because I never smoked it. I can tell you about smoking weed because I've smoked it. I've dealt with it. I smoked it for a while. It wasn't my thing, so I just didn't do it like that. You know, I don't like smoking in general, Newports, anything. So for the most part, might try me some edibles, one day, but other than that, nah, that's not my lane. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people got to have a focus on what they're trying to deal with in life. You know, the whole thing when I talk about generational wealth, you got to learn about that stuff. It's not being taught. Like literally, I've listened to a lady on Alonzo's channel. She went to school for business, and she didn't learn about generational wealth until after she'd been out of school for some years. They teach you the basics in business, adding, subtracting, you know, working spreadsheets, doing certain numbers, as far as banking. You get into banking, the basics, adding, subtracting, contracts. But as far as the services in which most they give, they you learn those. If you could be a debt consolidation, you learn all in debt consolidation. If you go into the position of, you know, loans, you learn about that, as far as home loans, personal loans, you learn all about that. Give you a level of, IRAs, but to the extent and how to make the money work, that's something you got to learn outside of that. I've seen courses in which when I used to work through the banking system, uh, they teach you a level of courses just to get you off the ground. Then as time goes on, you take these tests, you take certain aspects of different things so you can learn the basics, you know, just to, deal with the customers. Anything other than that, that's who you get more or less your senior manager or some type of other officer that can deal with you to deal with the customer if you're not at that level. And that takes most of the time years in which they learn that because that's the system to keep you in there and keep you in this, close knit circle. So about to get ready to drop off of here, but that's what I just wanted to speak on the game of the relationship, marriage, the game of actually being a parent, you know, man or woman, and just having kids. That's why I say I already know when it come down to it, everybody have their little situations, and you know how they want to move or how they want to live. So, like I say, results may vary. Results may vary. What happens in my life, I can only tell you from an extent in which I've done things and it worked for me, might not work for you. Literally, I was at the job and I was telling my coworkers that I get my wife to do my paperwork on the weekend. And every one of them said, "Man, you got a good wife. My wife, man, my girl, my wife, they ain't doing my paperwork." And they be like, "I work too. That's your paperwork. You do it yourself." And I laughed. I was like, "Well, I just tell her, hey, this team effort. You know, I go to work, I do this, but do this paperwork for me." She don't mind. Every once in a while, she'll give me a little grief about it. Oh, and Gold Professor, don't say nothing about the inside joke. We, hey, but when it come down to it, she do it. You know, not saying willingly all the time. She like she dreads doing it, but she'll do it for me. You know, and that's the sense and comfort of the relationship where we working together for that greater goal to helping the family out, putting things in play. So to a degree, you can be mad, not be mad at it. It's all depending on how you want to live or how you want to do. So man, at the end of the day, like I say, results may vary. You know, the game is the game, and I'll holler at y'all later. Shout out Gold Professor. For all y'all don't know, I'm about to go over here and get some of this knowledge from Gold Professor. Today is Thursday, Health Talk, and I hope he has some health talk instead of be talking all crazy because ain't nobody got time for that. But Gold Professor, you about to go on 13 minutes. See if I go ahead and do this real quick and drop the link. Yep. So I just dropped the link for everybody. It's over here. Go over there and check out Gold Professor. It's about to get ready to start in 12 minutes. But like I say, the biggest thing, man, figure out what you want, man. Because I can give you the direction, but I can't give you the word. Until next time, we here, we gone.